Hello students, a very good day to all of you. My name is Askar Khan and I welcome you to understanding another lesson on real numbers, multiplying and dividing real numbers. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to find products and quotients of real numbers. So welcome to the lesson. Let's understand the key concept in multiplying real numbers. The product of two real numbers with different signs is negative. For example, negative 3 times positive 5. Now these are two real numbers with different signs, so their product will always be negative. So remember, negative times positive is always negative, and 5 times 3 is 15. Let's take another example. 6 times negative 8. Now what will be the sign of the product? 6 is positive and 8 is negative, so the product of two different signs is going to be a negative number, and 6 times 8 is 48. What is the other key concept? The product of two real numbers with the same sign is going to be positive. For example, 4 times 8. Now both are positive numbers, so the product is also going to be positive, and 8 times 4 is 32. Let's take another example. Negative 4 times negative 8. Now here both these numbers have the same sign, negatives. So the product will be positive, and 8 times 4 is 32 again. So in short, you can summarize always for multiplication, positive number multiplied with a negative number will always be a negative answer. A negative number multiplied with a positive number will always be negative. Positive multiplied with positive will be positive, and negative multiplied with negative is going to be positive. So these are the basic key concepts of multiplying real numbers. Let's work out some problems. Let's try out these problems. 12 times negative 8. What is it going to be? First, is the product going to be a negative number or a positive number? It's going to be a negative number because 12 is positive and 8 is negative. Two numbers with different signs are multiplied, so the product is going to be negative. So 12 times 8 is 96. So 12 times negative 8 is negative 96. Let's try this. 24 times 0.5. Is the product going to be positive or negative? Make a guess. It's going to be positive because both numbers are positive. So 24 times 0.5 is 12. Okay, let's move on and try another one. Try this. Negative 3 over 4 times half. Is the product going to be negative or positive? It's going to be negative because two different signs are multiplied. So we know how to multiply two fractions. Multiply the numerators first, and then you can multiply the denominators. So 3 times 1 is 3. Of course the product is going to be negative. 3 over 4 times 2 is 8. So 3 over 8. Let's try another one. Negative 3 the whole square. What do we mean by square? That means a number repeats itself 2 times in this case. So negative 3 squared is nothing but negative 3 multiplied with negative 3. Can you guess what is going to be the sign of the product? Two numbers with the same signs. So the product is going to have a positive sign because negative times negative is positive, and 3 times 3 is 9. So negative 3 the whole squared is 9. So that's pretty easy. So let's move on to the next type of concept and problems. See whether you got the concept or not. Try this out. You can pause the video and then work out all these problems and then check your work after clicking the play button. What is each project? 6 times negative 15. What is it going to be? Negative 90. You can review the concept. 12 times 0.2. What is it going to be? 2.4. Negative 7 over 10 times 3.5. What is it going to be? Is the answer going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative. Good. And what will be the number? It's going to be negative 21 over 50. Remember, you need to multiply the numerators with the, and then you multiply the denominators. Negative 4 the whole square. What's the answer? Negative 4 times negative 4, that is going to be positive 16. Great. Did you get all these? Lovely. Now let's move on. Before we move on to solve the square root problems, let's refresh our concept of square roots. Remember, we learned that 3 times 3 can be written as 3 squared, which is nothing but 9. And square root of 9 is 3. We studied this in lesson 1-3. Now with the additional concept of multiplication, can you tell me what is negative 3 times negative 3? It is negative 3 squared, which is also 9. So in other words, square root of 9 can also be negative 3. So whenever we write square root of 9, can be plus or minus 3. Similarly, what will square root of 16 be? Either it will be plus or minus 4. What will square root of 25 be? Plus or minus 5. What will square root of 36 be? Plus or minus 6. So we understood the concept now. Now with this understanding, let's move on to simplifying square root expressions. Let's try this. Simplify square root expressions. What is the simplified form of each expression? Negative square root 25. So over here we are finding the square root, the negative square root. Now square root 25, we know it's 5. So the answer of this is going to be negative 5. Let's try another one. How would you do this? Plus or minus square root of 4 over 49. Now this is a fraction. So it's very simple. Separate the square roots to the numerator and the denominator. We can do it like this. Plus or minus square root 4 divided by square root 49. We have just separated the square root for the numerator and the denominator. And square root 4 is 2 and square root 49 is 7. So that is the answer for plus or minus square root of 4 over 49. So now let's see whether you have got the concept or not. Try it out. Okay, did you try this? You can hit the pause button, try the answers for all these things, all these questions, and see whether you've got it right. Once you have completed, you can click the play button and check your answers. What is the simplified form of each expression? Square root of 64, sorry. So square root of 64, what is it? It's 8. Of course, plus or minus 8. The next one, plus or minus square root 16. What is square root 16? It's 4, because 4 squared is 16. So plus or minus 4. What is negative square root 121? Negative square root of 121 is 11. And coming to a fraction, plus or minus, square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 36 is 6. Great. I hope all your answers are correct. Now let's move on to dividing real numbers. Let's look at the key concept of dividing real numbers. It is the same as multiplying two real numbers. The quotient of two real numbers with different signs is negative. Easy to understand. For example, negative 20 divided by positive 5. What will be the quotient? Positive or negative? It's going to be negative because the quotient of two real numbers with different signs is going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 4. Let's take another example. 10 divided by negative 2. What's going to be the answer? The quotient will again be negative because two numbers with different signs. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So get the concept? Whenever two real numbers with different signs are divided, the quotient is going to be negative. Let's understand the other concept. The quotient of two real numbers with the same sign is positive. Easy to understand again. So let's take the example 20 divided by 5. Both the numbers are positive, so the quotient is going to be positive. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, another example, negative 10 divided by negative 2. What's the answer? The quotient is going to be positive because both the numbers have the same sign. So it's going to be positive 5. So in other words, you can summarize this key concept. A positive number divided by a negative number, the quotient will always be negative. A negative number divided by a positive number, the quotient will always be negative. A positive number divided by another positive number, the quotient will always be positive. A negative number divided by a negative number, the quotient will always be positive. Summary of the concept. Now let's try some problems based upon the understanding of this concept. Let's try applying this division concept in a skydiving problem. Okay? A skydiver's elevation changes by negative 3,600 feet in 4 minutes after the parachute opens. What is the average change in the skydiver's elevation each minute? So every 4 minutes, the elevation is changing by negative 3,600 feet. So you have been asked to find what is the average change in the elevation each minute. So how are you going to do this? What is it that you're going to do to find the average change each minute? You will take negative 3,600 and you will divide it by 4. That's the concept, to find the average for each minute. So negative 3,600 divided by 4. What will be the sign of the quotient? Is it going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative because two numbers with different signs, opposite signs. So it's going to be negative. And of course 3,600 divided by 4 is 900. So the skydiver's average change in elevation is negative 900 feet per minute. So it's going to be negative 900 feet per minute. So that's how you apply the concept of dividing by real numbers in this particular skydiving problem. Great. Okay, see whether you got it or not. Try it on your own. You make 5 withdrawals of equal amounts from your bank account. The total amount you withdraw is $360. What is the change in your account balance each time you make a withdrawal? So how many withdrawals are you making? 5 of equal amounts. What is the total amount you have in your bank? $360. So every time you withdraw, what is the change in the balance? How would you do it? It will be dividing 360 by 5. So $360 you divide by 5 because you're withdrawing 5 times. So 360 divided by 5 is going to be $72. So the change in your account balance each time you make a withdrawal is $72. Great. Let's move on to understand another concept. Let's understand what is an inverse property of multiplication. For every non-zero real number a, there is a multiplicative inverse 1 over a such that a times 1 over a is equal to 1. What does it mean? That means, for example, if I have 4 as a real number, what is the multiplicative inverse of 4? It is going to be 1 over 4. Why? Because if I multiply 4 times 1 over 4, the answer is 1. Because 4 divided by 4 cancels and it's 1. So the multiplicative inverse of 4 is 1 over 4. Similarly, what will be the multiplicative inverse of negative 4? It's going to be negative 1 over 4. Good. Why? Because if I multiply negative 4 with negative 1 over 4, the answer is going to be 1. So now you know what inverse property of multiplication is. Whenever you have a real number, if that is multiplied by its multiplicative inverse, then the product is always 1. Let's try to understand what is a reciprocal. The reciprocal of a number, of any number, say for example 2 over 3, is 3 over 2. And whenever you multiply the reciprocal of a number with itself, the answer will always be 1, because 3 divides it with 3 and 2 gets divided by 2. So in general, if a number is of the form a over b, its reciprocal will be b over a. As simple as that. And when you multiply a number with its reciprocal, the product is always 1. For example, 5. What is the reciprocal of 5? It is 1 over 5. Understand that 5 can be written as 5 over 1. So the reciprocal of 5 is 1 over 5. And when you multiply them, the product is always 1. So we understood what a reciprocal is. We understood what inverse property of multiplication is. Let's try out a problem. Let's learn how to divide fractions. What is the value of x over y when x is negative 3 over 4 and y is equal to negative 2 over 3? So over here we have two fractions and we are asked to divide one by the other. So let's write them down together. Negative 3 over 4 is x divided by negative 2 over 3, x divided by y. Now look at the method how we divide two fractions. Keep the first fraction as it is. So it's going to be negative 3 over 4. Then change the division sign to a multiplication sign. And then take the second fraction and reciprocate. Take the reciprocal of the second fraction. What is the reciprocal of negative 2 over 3? It's negative 3 over 2. Okay, you just have to flip the second fraction. So now we know how to multiply two fractions. Multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So negative times negative is positive, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 2 is 8. Simple. So keep the first fraction as it is, change the division sign to a multiplication sign, take the reciprocal of the second fraction and then multiply the two fractions. So let's try another problem and see whether you got it or not. Try this. What is the value of 3 over 4 divided by negative 5 over 2? So 3 over 4 divided by negative 5 over 2. So what is the method we learned? Keep the first fraction as it is, 3 over 4. Then change the division sign to a multiplication sign. Then what happens to the second fraction? Flip, take the reciprocal of that, negative 2 over 5. And then you can multiply. Or you can also directly simplify. 2 1 times is 2, 2 times is 4. So I can simplify the numerator and the denominator of the fractions. So now I can multiply the numerators and the denominators. 3 times 1 is 3 divided by 2 times 5 is 10, and positive multiplied with negative is negative. So the answer is negative 3 over 10. So with this, we have completed the lesson on multiplying and dividing by real numbers. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you have learnt the concept. Do keep practicing, because always remember, your results are in proportion to the amount of effort that you put in. And keep watching my videos on this math channel, Wisdom Outlined. Thank you. My name is Askar Khan, and I run a math video channel called Wisdom Outlined. You can subscribe to this channel to watch my videos. And I also run a self-help YouTube channel called Principles Outlined. So if you are interested in knowing about effective principles, then you can subscribe to this channel. And do share this link to your friends and one and all. You can WhatsApp me at my number in case if you're looking for private math tutoring, either it's in person or online. My number is 00966 507 081702. Thank you once again for watching this, and do subscribe and click the like button. Thank you.